decision. A ton of cool stuff is going on, and the markets are actually bouncing today. So we're finally seeing some green. Finally, it looks like this bloodbath might be at least coming to a little hiatus, right? We might not be moving down today at least. We'll see what happens, though. Obviously, anything can happen in the markets. If the Fed says something spooky, then maybe stocks will move back down. But at the moment, futures are up, and you'll see what I'm talking about right here. Dow futures up about 1%, S&P futures up 1.5%, NASDAQ futures up 2%, and oil's actually getting a bit of a rise, probably from the Russia-Ukraine situation. So we've got a lot of interesting stuff, and we're going to take a peek at the charts first of all to see where some of the rises are going on. So first of all, SPY, right? SPY is moving up, and before we do that, good morning Kitchener, good morning Silver, good morning Auto Codes, and Max Pierce. Welcome everybody. So the markets did end up bouncing, right? In the aftermarkets, we were moving down a little bit for a while, and then we started moving up. And in the pre-markets, we continued moving up. So really good stuff for the SPY. Sundial actually had an incredible day yesterday, right? The markets overall were pretty bad, but Sundial was actually green yesterday, and we continued being green in the pre-market. And if you look at the chart of the past 10 days, you can see that over the past two, from its lows to its highs, it's from its lows to its highs, Sundial is up about 23%. So that's a pretty big bounce in the price. Now, does that mark the bottom? Hopefully, we'll see. Good morning, Quaid and Rich M. And DWAC also bouncing in the pre-market, right? Back up above $70. Smile Direct Club, a new play that I got into over a couple of days, right? I entered this multiple times, and average cost $2.16 on SDC, up $300 at the moment. So we'll see what happens with it, right? It's risen a bit since I've bought in, and hopefully we'll see a run up in Smile Direct Club, right? There's a couple of reasons. We'll talk about some of them towards the middle and end of the stream, right? But we've got to talk about the overall news that everybody's interested in first. So we're going to start off. Good morning, Shadow Girl. We're going to start off with 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Wednesday. So first off, we already kind of touched on this, right? Stocks are set to jump at the open as Wall Street's wild swings continue. So obviously, futures are up, right? We don't need to talk too much more about that. Second, the Fed is expected to signal March rate hikes and further policy tightening. So obviously, the Fed wants to combat inflation. They're probably going to be raising rates in March, and they're probably going to continue their tightening of the bond purchases. So we'll see what happens with it. We don't know for sure. Obviously, Jerome Powell is going to be giving his talk around 2:30, I believe, and the Fed's statement and rate hike decision is coming out at 2. So we'll see what happens with that. And a lot of people will probably be very eager to see what Jerome Powell has to say, right? We'll probably see a lot of market volatility around 2:30 towards the power hour of the day, right? So hopefully he'll say good stuff. Hopefully he's not going to crash the markets. I think he realizes that the markets have been experiencing some pain lately, right? The S&P has not been having a good time. So hopefully he's taking that into account. Hopefully he's not going to continue this downtrend, and he realizes. You'd think he'd realize, the markets are in a little bit of a tenuous position, and what he has to say today really matters. So we'll see what he says. Now, Boeing, we're not going to talk about too much, but AT&T is seeing a pandemic-driven HBO Max boost. So that's a little bit of an interesting story, right? AT&T Wednesday morning beat their earnings estimates for fourth quarter, and a lot of this was on strong growth from their HBO Max platform, which is actually getting a lot more use, right? During the pandemic triggered shifts to working, studying, and playing online, that's helped out their demand for wireless services, HBO Max included. And we can actually take a look right here at the case counts, which are showing a good trend. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the case counts, right? Look at this. Although, obviously they're still very high, they are lowering. So if you zoom in on the chart, you can see we're on a pretty good downwards trend right here. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce on the new data that came out for Monday, but my hope is that won't continue to be the case, right? Hopefully we'll continue just trending down and kind of eliminate this surge fairly quickly, right? Get the economy back up and running, steamroll the stock market back to the stratosphere, and that's what everyone's hoping for. We'll see if it actually happens. And the next thing that we've got to talk about, we're not going to talk about Microsoft too much, but interestingly enough, Biden is going to host CEOs at the White House in person, about 10 CEOs from 10 pretty big companies, to promote his stalled Build Back Better plan. Now, recently, there have been a couple of big companies that have been trying to influence public policy. We're going to talk about one key one in a little bit, but he's inviting 10 CEOs who he thinks will hopefully have a good impact and maybe could bribe some government officials to get this Build Back Better thing passed. Probably not, but maybe. And he's basically hoping that the CEOs will help to convince the public and the people in Congress to help pass this Build Back Better plan. So they've got CEOs from General Motors, Ford, Salesforce, and HP, just to name a few. And if you look at the Build Back Better plan, just for those of you who don't quite know what it's all about, $550 billion is going to fight climate change, $400 billion for universal pre-K, $200 billion for child tax credits, $200 billion for 4 weeks of paid leave, $165 billion on healthcare spending, $150 billion to expand affordable home care, $150 billion for affordable housing. And where's the money coming from? Well, supposedly, the government's going to find a way to raise all of it, right? That's what the government said, at least. But CBO findings are at odds with this. They found that it would actually increase the federal budget deficit by $160 billion over the next 10 years, and potentially more than that. We might see it rise by potentially more than that, and that certainly wouldn't be good if we look at the national debt right here, which we'll take a peek at. We're getting very close to 30 trillion. We're less than 160 billion away. So we're at 29 trillion, 878 billion, 628 million of national debt. So it's getting pretty darn high. And I don't think a lot of people want that thing to keep rising as it is. But it seems like there's no stopping it. It just keeps running up harder than the stock market does. So we'll see what happens with the national debt. Hopefully, hopefully if they do pass this Build Back Better bill, they will find a way to pay for it, right? Because we really don't want too much more debt on the balance sheet. So we'll see what happens with it. And Rich M says the government raising money is raising taxes. Yeah, typically that is how they raise money, right? They find either it's an income tax or a sales tax or an excise tax or whatever it is, that they get it from someone. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they have been pretty fond of printing the money lately, but now we're in this whole inflation situation, and Jerome Powell doesn't seem to like it very much, right? So we're going to see what he says about that later today. But we do have an interesting tweet. A couple interesting tweets, actually, from Elon Musk that I wanted to pull up. The first one, not too important, but just interesting. It's about the Tesla Cybertruck. So he says, been driving latest Cybertruck prototype around Giga Texas. It's awesome. So hopefully that means development is going well, and they're hopefully going to be producing the Cybertruck, and hopefully we'll see some of those on the streets pretty soon. This obviously is just a toy, but I think it would be pretty cool to see the Cybertrucks on the street. I mean, I like the look of Teslas. I have to admit, when I first saw the Cybertruck, I was a little, I thought it was okay. It could have looked a little bit better, but it has grown on me. And I'm gonna pull up a picture of the Cybertruck right here. Let's find a picture of the Cybertruck, just for those of you who don't know what it looks like. We'll pull up the Cybertruck. That's a little bit of a blurry picture. We don't want that. Let's get something better. We'll filter it to show only large pictures. All right. So, Cybertruck, here we go. Yeah, this should be good. So look at this. This is the Cybertruck right here. I think it looks pretty cool. Now that I've seen it a couple of times, I honestly think this thing looks pretty darn cool. And a lot of people are going to disagree. I think that it would be interesting to see it in colors other than just the silver that they've got. Hopefully they'll add that soon, but who knows? I mean, this thing, I would love to drive one of these. Even though I'm not a truck guy, I think it would be pretty cool to be driving around a Cybertruck just because it looks so futuristic at this point. Anyways, Elon did have a second tweet. And it's actually related to Dogecoin. So if you like Dogecoin, then you're going to like this tweet, and it could be very good for Dogecoin if this actually happens. So he tweets out, "I will eat a Happy Meal on TV if McDonald's accepts Dogecoin." So pretty cool stuff. Burger King actually responded to this and said, "Only a king knows what the coin do." So maybe Burger King is trying to get Elon Musk to sponsor Burger King and eat at Burger King. Maybe Burger King has some plans. I don't know if they've actually accepted Dogecoin in the past. Potentially they have. I don't know. Maybe there was something about that. But Dogecoin also responded to this, the official Dogecoin Twitter, and just sent out this little GIF or GIF, however you prefer it, of the Doge dog, right? The Shiba Inu popping his head out from behind a McDonald's bag. So we'll see what happens with that. And I do want to look up, now that I mention it very briefly, I just want to see if Burger King accepts Dogecoin. Huh. So, I don't know if they accept Dogecoin, but look at this. Look at this. Burger King offers free crypto, putting Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum on the menu. So, Burger King has partnered with Robinhood to give away Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin to members of its Royal Perks loyalty program when they spend $5 on the restaurant's app. So, this is probably what I was thinking of when I thought that they might have been accepting Dogecoin, because I do think that on my Robinhood account, I got a notification about, go to Burger King and spend some money on the app and you'll get free crypto, Dogecoin, something like that. So most people, not surprisingly, will receive Doge. And Burger King says the prize pool will consist of 2 million Doge, 200 Ether, and 20 Bitcoin. That puts the odds of receiving a Bitcoin at about 1 in 100,000. So wow. So you could potentially get a Bitcoin, 1 in 100,000 chance for spending $5 on the restaurant's app. Now let's do the math on that and figure out if that's actually potentially a good deal. So 1 out of 100,000 times that you do this, you get a Bitcoin. And the thing is, if you did this 100,000 times, you get 1 Bitcoin. And currently, a Bitcoin is trading for $38,000. So for every $500,000 that you spend, you get $38,000 in Bitcoin statistically, right? And then obviously, if there's a 1 in 100,000 chance of getting a Bitcoin, if there's 20 of them, then there's a 1 in 10,000 chance of getting an Ether. So every 10,000 times you get an Ether, which adds up to another $20,000, and then you get some Dogecoin. So overall, you're still spending money at Burger King doing this, even if you were to try to game the system. But that's a decent discount and a cool lottery, right? You could potentially get a Bitcoin for going to Burger King. I don't know if that deal is still active, but pretty cool stuff. So we will take a peek just at the crypto prices real quick before we get on with the market stuff, right? We'll take a peek at the crypto prices. Bitcoin up to 38,000, right? So these cryptos have really been recovering in a pretty significant way ever since they bottomed out. So Bitcoin we'll take a peek at real quick. It's up about 4.5%, but you can see it really crashed hard from 42,000 down to lows of 33,000. I mean, just getting wiped out over the past couple of months, along with the small market cap stocks, right? Bitcoin has actually kind of been trading with them for a bit, right? It's performed a little bit better. It's a big asset. A lot of people know about it. It actually has a massive market cap. Let's see. Its market cap is $723 billion for Bitcoin. So it's a pretty big market cap. Definitely not equivalent to a small market cap stock, but it's been getting hurt too since November, along with a lot of stocks, right? It's not just small market cap stocks that have been getting hurt since November, but it is especially small market cap stocks, right? Looking at the past year, the S&P actually topped out around the beginning of January. And if you look at IWM, the Russells, which tracks the small market cap stocks mostly, it did top out in November, around the same time that Bitcoin did, and has since, it's really fallen quite a ways. So from their highs to their highs in November, the small market cap stocks to their lows were down about 21%. And these aren't even the smallest of the small market cap stocks, right? A lot of these are fairly large market caps, multiple billions. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has fallen quite a ways from highs around the exact same time that the small market cap stocks topped out, actually. A day prior is when they started falling on November 7th. So they were at 67,000, and they fell to lows of 32,000, 33,000. So quite a ways. In fact, I think that's more than 50%, more than 50% drop, right? They fell by about $34,000 worth down to 33,000. So more than a 50% crash in the price of Bitcoin over just a couple of months. And the unfortunate part about that is a lot of people were buying into Bitcoin, hoping that it would be an inflation hedge. So there is actually, I'll see if I can pull this up. There's actually an interesting tweet. I think it's a tweet. Let's see. No, he didn't post it to Twitter. He only has it on Instagram. Anyways, there's an interesting, it was just a little joke that someone posted on Instagram about, putting their money into Bitcoin, hoping it would be an inflation hedge. And instead of losing, 7% to inflation, they lost 50% on their Bitcoin. So, an interesting comparison. But the cryptos overall, at least the past day or two, have been doing pretty darn good, right? Pretty much everything is green again. So they are recovering fairly strongly, right? Even Dogecoin, after that Elon Musk tweet, it's up to above 15 cents. Not that the Elon Musk tweet had the biggest impact, right? We can actually see just how big of an impact it was. 7:30 a.m. is when that tweet came out. And that was yesterday, actually. So let's see. Yesterday at 7:30 a.m. Okay, so right here, actually, this little spike, you can see, you can zoom in on it. It was this spike right here. Hopefully the camera's not in the way. We'll get rid of it. This spike was caused by Elon Musk's tweet that if McDonald's accepted Dogecoin, then he would eat a Happy Meal on TV. So cool stuff. We'll see if he actually does that, if McDonald's ends up taking him up on his offer. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, the only thing is, could McDonald's do that? Logistically speaking, right? Would they have to implement some kind of physical device in all their stores to accept the Dogecoin, or install some new system at every McDonald's in the world? It doesn't sound too feasible to me. It doesn't sound too worthwhile. I mean, maybe it is, right? But it sounds incredibly expensive to install a new system to accept Dogecoin, or maybe they could update their app and say they accept Dogecoin on the app. But boy, oh boy, would people get confused about how to do it, right? It seems a little complex. I don't know. I've never bought anything with Dogecoin before, but maybe McDonald's will go ahead and do it if they think it's worth getting Elon Musk to eat a Happy Meal on TV. We'll see what happens with that. It would certainly be a good publicity stunt, right? So it would be good for Elon Musk and McDonald's. So we've got some stuff in the comments. Good morning, Nick. The way to raise money is to raise money, but once they get your money, they just end up spending more. So talking about the Build Back Better bill, I believe. Yeah. So the Build Back Better bill, boy, oh boy. I mean, it looks pretty darn expensive. If you look at all this stuff, $550 billion to fight climate change, $400 billion for universal pre-K. That's almost $1 trillion right there. I mean, once you add in the $200 billion for child tax credits, we're over $1 trillion. So, and there's quite a few more things that they're going to be spending money on. So it does seem pretty darn expensive. I mean, it's all good stuff, right? We want to fight climate change. We want people to go to preschool. We want, people with kids to have more money. We want people to not have to go to work and to have better health care and to have better home care and housing. But boy, oh boy, is it expensive. I mean, it's a tough sell for a lot of people, right? They look at the national debt and they're just seeing it constantly tick up, and they don't want to spend more, and they don't want to get taxed more. I mean, we'll pull up the tax brackets. And, they're pretty significant, especially once you get to the higher income levels. So here we go. The 2021 federal income tax bracket. So 10%, if you're making under $10,000, you pay 10% of the income, right? And from 10,000 to 40,000, you pay 12%. And from 40,000 to 80,000, you pay 22%. Now, 80,000 to 160,000 is 25% just about. And past that, it starts to get pretty significant, right? They're taking pretty much a third of your income or more. From 160,000 to anything more than that, they're taking basically a third of your income. Just at the federal level, right? This is just the federal income tax brackets. And then if you add in the states, I mean, say you live in a state like California. Let's pull up the California income tax rate. Scary stuff. So let's see. Let's see if we can find a good number right here. All right. So in California, if you're making more than the 160 or more than 300,000, you're paying another 10% on top of that federal income tax rate of you'd be paying 35% or more, depending on how much you make. So I mean, they're taking. Say you're in the top tax bracket, right? Say you're making more than 600 whatever thousand bucks for California. Say you're making more than $625,000. You're getting taxed 12% from California, and 37% at the federal level. You're paying 49% income tax. It's pretty significant, right? You're losing almost 50%. And at that point, I mean, say you own a business, right? Say you own a business and you're making some money off the business. If that tax rate were just 2% higher, say you were losing, 51% to the government. Say they raised it just a little bit. You were losing 51%. I mean, who actually owns that business at the end of the day, right? Is it you or does the government own it? I mean, if you look at it from a stock market perspective, whoever's getting 51% of the income, they're the ones that has the majority ownership interest. I mean, the government just slaps on this rule. And, if they decide to take 51% of the income, then who really owns the business at the end of the day, right? Is it you or the government? So scary stuff to think about, right? How much we're getting taxed. Obviously, a lot of people aren't in these higher income tax brackets, but some people are. I mean, and it's even pretty significant if you look at some of the lower ones, right? If you're making more than $61,000 in California, you're getting taxed at 9.3%. Plus, the government's rate of 22% or 24%, depending on what you're making. So it's close to 30% of your income that's just getting taken away, even if you're not making, what most people would consider to be massive amounts of money, right? So, California has a pretty high tax rate, right? It's not like all states are like that, but it's pretty significant. So, scary stuff. Now, something a little bit less scary that we need to talk about. Something actually really good. Something very beneficial for anyone holding Sundial stock. First of all, you can see the chart right here in the top right. It's obviously doing pretty good. But something that's very beneficial that just happened yesterday actually comes from Amazon. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen the YouTube short that I released or I guess I released as a TikTok and an Instagram reel as well. From Amazon's public policy account, the official public policy account from Amazon. They say, "We're pleased to endorse Representative Nancy Mace's States Reforms Act. Like so many in this country, we believe it's time to reform the nation's cannabis policy, and Amazon is committed to helping lead the effort." So really cool stuff. Basically, if you guys haven't been following the channel, Nancy Mace is a Republican from South Carolina. She wants to legalize cannabis at the federal level. She's introduced a bill. And she actually, we can pull up her Twitter. Looks like Amazon's public policy account has retweeted her tweet where she sent out this. So she retweeted them. If we go to them, then they retweeted her. And she said, "Amazon has endorsed my States Reformed Act, a bill that would end the federal government's 85-year prohibition on marijuana." And you can go to Forbes and whatnot and look at it. But very cool stuff, right? I would love to see that happen. It would be great for Sundial stock, which, Sundial is notably moving up now, not necessarily off of the news, not necessarily off of that news, right? That was it's a kind of small under reported story. So Zach Taylor says, "Robert Macy, are you incentivized to promote certain stocks? In the sense that, like, do people come to me and say, promote XYZ? No, I don't promote anything like that. Some people recently have been coming and it's always kind of broken English that they email me with. And someone wants me to promote, what is it? It's a crypto exchange of some sort. I think they want me to promote Kine Exchange or something. Don't go to it. Not sponsored, but someone wants me to promote. It's always crypto, right? I think that people realize, my audience is not big enough to move a stock, right? Especially, anything with any significant market cap of over, probably a couple $100,000. We're not moving that thing. But cryptos, on the other hand, they'll take anything they can get, right? They want anyone buying the coins because they're just looking to dump those things as soon as they possibly can. So, well, don't fall for a lot of those crypto scams. Sometimes I'll see YouTubers doing it, and they'll just pump a coin. I mean, even Kim Kardashian was pumping a coin. Let's find this story for those of you who haven't seen it yet. And this is crazy. So we have it right here. Kim Kardashian and Floyd Mayweather sued by investors over alleged crypto scam. So it was about the crypto Ethereum Max, and the class action lawsuit accuses Kim Kardashian and Floyd Mayweather of artificially inflating the price of the cryptocurrency by making false or misleading statements about the crypto. So we can move down here and see what did they tweet out. Here we go. Here's Kim Kardashian's Instagram ad. It should be here. No. All right, let me find this real quick. This is it, because this is an interesting one. It's a very interesting ad that she ended up posting, and I'll see if we can find it. Hopefully we can. No, it's Kylie Jenner. Maybe they got rid of it. But regardless, Kim Kardashian was pumping Ethereum Max at one point, it looks like. And it's scary stuff. I mean, people can lose a lot of money in those pumps. Some people can make money, right? If you catch it early enough, typically by the time the celebrity's talking about it, it's a little too late. But a lot of people might have viewed Dogecoin, right? When Elon Musk started pumping that, a lot of people might have speculated, oh, well, Elon, he must have bought up a bunch of Dogecoin, he's getting paid, he's going to dump this thing. But I think a lot of people realized that wasn't the case, right? Because Elon Musk, he was already a pretty wealthy guy. Maybe he could make a couple million or even a couple billion off of Dogecoin, right? But at the end of the day, why would he ruin his reputation when he's one of the most loved entrepreneurs in the world, pumping Dogecoin? But some people certainly caught the wave early, right, and got in. Even if you were getting in at 6 cents, 10 cents, even some people who were buying around 20 cents had the opportunity to pretty much triple their money at the highs of the Dogecoin pump, which certainly seemed like an influencer pump scam, right? Very similar to what Kim Kardashian might do, except Elon Musk wasn't benefiting from it. He was just trying to pump up the coin and make some people money. Unfortunately, though, whenever there's a situation like this with Dogecoin, there's always going to be people who buy in at the top, right? It's almost impossible for something to just perpetually rise. Now, there are some things that might be able to perpetually rise, right? Stocks can sometimes, if they keep improving their fundamentals, can perpetually move up and up. But Dogecoin didn't have the fundamentals for it, right? So it moved down. Now, obviously, Elon Musk is still supporting it, right? We saw it just today where he tweeted out that he would eat a Happy Meal on TV if McDonald's accepts Dogecoin. But we haven't really seen a huge price appreciation in Dogecoin yet. Hopefully we'll see one soon. But there's no telling. Now, I do want to point out, guys, market's about to open. I'll pull up the SPY real quick so we can see what's about to go down. But I've noticed that we've got about 110 viewers on the stream and about 27 likes. So let's see if we can't pump that up. Try to get some more people in the stream. Help out the YouTube algorithm a little bit. It would be much appreciated. Maybe we could get up to 50 likes. Maybe we could do it. I would appreciate that quite a bit, guys. So if anyone hasn't deployed the mouse on the like button, then we'll see. We'll see if more people can do it. So, Rob, what do you think about NASDAQ dropping 4% or more, then rallying equally to market crash soon? Rocky Mountain Gobbler says, what do you think about NASDAQ dropping 4% or more, then rallying equally to market crash soon? Meet Kevin was talking about that. I did not catch that Meet Kevin video, whatever it was. But is he saying that there's like a pattern where, the NASDAQ, moves up a certain amount during a crash and then that's a signal like it's about to move down further? That's possible, right? We often see patterns in the markets. I'll pull up CNBC. Looks like, yeah, the NASDAQ is up. Their futures are up 2% today. The SPY is moving up. I think, patterns are all well and good. Obviously, a lot of people just trade off the technicals, but I think in this situation, more people are worried about what the Fed is going to say than the technicals. I think if the Fed comes out and has all good news, it should probably move the markets up, right, regardless of the technicals. The technicals probably have an impact, but I think the Fed has more of an impact. So I'm really waiting to see what happens at this, Fed statement, their interest rate decision, and then when Powell talks, I think that'll be the big one, right? Because I don't think anything crazy is going to happen from the interest rate decision, right? I think they're probably going to keep it at 0.25. The Fed statement, we might get some interesting tidbits in there, but then when Powell expands on all that and really explains it to people, I think that's probably when we'll see some real craziness in the market. Hopefully craziness in a good way, right? Hopefully we'll be moving up. Hopefully he realizes the gravity of the situation and that the markets haven't been doing good. But notably, the S&P is up 1.5% today. So we'll see what happens. I mean, meet Kevin. He's out of the markets, right? At least last I checked. But maybe he's going to be right. Maybe the markets move down further. And maybe he can capture, he can get stuff on a, 5-10% discount from where he was. But personally, if you want to know what I think about Meet Kevin, I know everybody on YouTube is talking about Meet Kevin selling stocks, but if you want to know what I think that he had a massive increase in wealth. Right, I think he dramatically increased his wealth over, the course of 2 years when he really blew up. When he started those stimulus check videos, when he started covering the news and whatnot, I think he made a ton of money. And he put it all in the markets, and the markets were going up and up and up, and he was making even more money, right? And he amassed a massive portfolio, I think of around 30 million. And when he saw that decline, I think he's now around 20 million, right? He saw a 33% decline just about, I believe. It was that much. Maybe it's not that much, but he saw a massive decline, and it must be shocking. We see, either hundreds of dollars disappear or thousands. Rarely tens of thousands in a day, I would assume, but sometimes, some people might see that. But he was watching probably, 7 figures, $1 million at a time disappear on some days. And that's definitely spooky, right? Seeing your net worth decrease by millions of dollars, especially when you very rapidly came into all that money. And I think he just he got a little scared, and he decided, hey, I'm in a lot of risky stocks. I'd rather not risk all of this, and he'd rather just hold some cash at the moment while there's extreme volatility. Now, that's a fine decision. Like, if that's what he wants to do, that's all good. I think that makes a lot of sense if he's in a lot of risky stocks. Maybe it's time to start diversifying a little bit better. I think that could make sense. But he was pretty vocal in the past about always buying the dip, and his whole psychology of money thing. His course that costs, upwards of $1,000 or $2,000. I don't know if it really preaches doing what he's doing. I think it doesn't quite. So I don't know. I think that's why people were a bit upset about it. I'm not upset, right? I understand where he's coming from. If he made all that money and he got scared, I'm not going to be upset at a guy for being scared of losing millions a day, right? If he wants to sell, that's his call. I mean, it makes sense, right? I think he should probably diversify a little bit instead of just being all in end phase and whatnot. So it makes sense to me. I'm not mad at him, but I understand why a lot of people are. So Seam Blind says, down 35% overall. I ain't sweating. Sundial will deliver me to the promised land. I think so. I mean, Sundial up 2% today. It looks like we're getting a little bounce off of 50 cents to the downside, unfortunately, but I'm not worried about Sundial. I mean, especially now that we've got Amazon backing, not Sundial specifically, but cannabis legalization. I mean, that's when you really start to see big moves being made in the government, right? Once big companies get behind these movements, I mean, the government's there, supposedly to serve the people, but really they're there to serve, unfortunately, it seems like more recently, themselves. And if there were ever a way to serve yourself, it was appeasing big corporations. So now that Amazon's really getting on the train of at least publicly advocating for cannabis legalization, I think that provides us a pretty good springboard to get it in the near future, right? I hope that a lot of other companies will follow suit. They'll hopefully follow after Amazon, and we'll maybe see it sometime in 2022, in maybe in early 2023 if the government acts really slowly. But I think a lot of people want to see it sooner rather than later. So hopefully we see it soon, though. So D. Roan says, me, Kevin, is a little bit of a sketchy guy. I question his morals. I'm pretty good with reading people. Yeah, I think, he I trust him to a certain extent. He certainly provides a lot of good information, but a lot of the time he does seem a little bit sketchy, right? A little bit sketchy. Definitely really good at marketing stuff, right? So, he seems decent enough, though. I don't dislike him. I watch his videos from time to time. Whenever he releases something that seems really impactful, I'll take a peek at it. But I like Graham Stephan a lot. I like Graham Stephan a ton. I think he's doing great stuff with his channels. He's providing a lot of really good news and a lot of really good insights into what he's thinking with his podcast. And I just love that, right? That's my favorite finance channel out there, Graham Stephan. So hopefully you guys don't. I'll go leave this channel for his channel. He doesn't do morning live streams or anything like that. So hopefully we're in slightly different niches. But boy, oh boy, is Graham Stephan my favorite. And PhD Dragon says, just watch. Everything will be green except AMC. We'll take a peek at AMC. It looks like a lot of stuff is pretty darn green right now. Smile Direct Club, notably, up to 252. So definitely a green day for Smile Direct Club, right up 1.6%. Hopefully will continue to rise up to 254 right now. And we're green on that by about $370. I bought 1,000 shares of it just in case we saw this kind of a rally. So hopefully we'll continue up. And Smile Direct Club, I could see myself holding for a bit, right? We've really gotten beaten down with SDC. Really gotten beaten down. I'll pull it up to a more prominent chart right over the SPY. I'll pull it up. And if you look at the year, boy, we've been beaten down. And I think that we could rebound, even if we only rebound, to $6 or so. That wouldn't be the most massive rebound in history, right? That's assuming there's still a lot of pain in small markets over the past year or so, right? At $6, if we got there in a couple of months, then we would still be down over the past year by, about what? We'd still be down about 43%. So that's not even assuming that they go to all-time highs or anything like that. But at these prices, if you put 2K in, I put 2K in around $2. So 1,000 shares. If they went to $6, that 2,000 turns into 6. So I'm not complaining about it. Now, obviously, Smile Direct Club, not my highest conviction play in the world. It's one that I think has a shot, right? It's one that I've noticed has moved down pretty significantly. It's in the bottom right chart now. And it's one that I think, with their new initiatives to increase profitability and to actually become profitable, that they could be doing significantly better than where they're at stock price-wise. So it's not my highest conviction play in the world, but currently it's paying off, right? They're at 257. They just seem to be climbing. So that's what we're looking at with Smile Direct. But once again, one that I am interested in, and they do seem to be doing well today. So we'll see what happens with that. But Sundial down to 48.5. Probably, if I had to say, Sundial would be one of my higher conviction plays. And AutoCode says Thailand legalized cannabis. So let's take a peek at that. Wow. Wow. So, let's see what CNN just said. Thailand gives green light to growing cannabis at home. So, Thailand's narcotics board on Tuesday said it would remove cannabis from its drugs list, paving the way for households to grow the plant. Thailand became the first Southeast Asian country to legalize cannabis in 2018 for medical use and research. Under the new rule, people can grow cannabis plants at home after notifying their local government, but the cannabis cannot be used for commercial purposes without further licenses. Okay, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. Homegrown cannabis should be used for medical purposes. Okay. Should be used for medical purposes like traditional medicine. Food and Drug Regulator Chief said there would be random inspections. Okay, and the bill punishes the growth of cannabis without notifying the government. So, Thailand, they definitely like having some control, some measure of control over the economy, but that's really cool. Now, that's definitely a step in the right direction. Let me pull up something. Speaking of Thailand, I do like Thailand quite a bit. But I'll pull this up. For those of you who don't know. Oh, wow. Huh. Look at this. Look at this. So you guys are going to love this. No advice here. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I was unaware that they legalized it. But Thailand legalizes kratom, popular plant-based painkiller. Now, I don't know how much about this I can talk on the stream, but I am a big fan of kratom. It's a legal substance in most states in the United States, and I can't talk too much about it, but it's basically a relative of the coffee plant, and it essentially, in my opinion, does the exact opposite of what coffee does. Instead of making you energetic and a little jittery and potentially anxious, kratom is it binds to the opioid receptors. It's not an opioid, but it binds to the opioid receptors, so it makes you a little tired, very relaxed, and once again, painkiller. So very cool. If you guys haven't tried it, I'm not recommending that anyone does, but it's very cool. And you can find it at a lot of smoke shops and whatnot. Apparently, that's where it's popular. But very cool. Obviously not a recommendation that anyone use it, but. And Kitchener Leslie says kratom helped me quit drinking. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's really cool, and I think it's very underspoken about. I don't think a lot of people talk about kratom, and not a lot of people just don't know it exists. But it's very cool. My favorite thing, probably my favorite substance, if I had to say, it's just it eliminates pain if you're at the gym and you're working out and you're sore the next day. It's pretty cool. So can't talk too much about it, but just wanted to point that out. Now, let's see what we're getting in the overall market. So it looks like BBIG is up today. So it was hitting up at 390 in the pre-market. BBIG was seeing some movement to the upside over the past couple of days, along with all the stocks, right? A lot of stocks are moving up over the past couple of days. A lot of the smaller market cap stocks, and BBIG has certainly seen a lot of pain lately. We'll see if we get a continued rally, right? It's moved up a decent amount. How much has it moved up, though, over the past from the highs to the lows? So from the lows to the highs, it's been up about 46%, and from the lows to where it is now, it's up about 27%. So also, that was a potential opportunity right there, but I'm happier with SDC, right? BBIG did just go through a big rally, and it's typically... And Florida Girl says you can have withdrawals, so it's addicting. Yeah, I should point out, kratom is addictive if you use it a lot. So be wary of that. Be wary of that. Do not use it too often. So yeah, don't use it too often. But pretty much, a lot of things are addicting, right? Addictive. But if you're careful with stuff, if you don't have an addictive personality, I'm not recommending that anyone try it. But I'm just saying, I'm just giving you guys my opinion. I like it. Just putting that out there. I don't know how much we can really talk about, substances and stuff on the stream, on YouTube, but just my opinion on kratom. Anyways, back to the markets. Looks like the S&P is actually moving down a little bit, right? Pretty much the only significant green that we saw was on the opening bell, and even that was mostly just a big green wick, right? So now we're moving down a little touch on the market. Sundial is it's kind of following suit, but it's still up on the day. Smile Direct Club is paying no attention to what the markets are doing, right? SDC seems to just be moving up, right? We hit highs of 262, and DWAC looks like is up 3.5% on the day, back up above the $70 support. Kitchener Leslie says, I don't think you can get addicted to it. And Max Pierce says, Rob, did you say there's a kratom stock? No, I don't think there's a kratom stock. Maybe there is, but I don't know, actually. I'm going to look into this, though. Let's see. Okay. So unfortunately, we'll pull up this. Yeah, so kratom stocks. Can you invest in kratom? Can you buy and sell kratom stocks? The short answer is no. Kratom companies cannot currently participate in public trading on the stock exchange. This means that kratom investments are all but impossible to make. Oh well, can't do it. I would. If it was possible, I would. As soon as I find one, I'm probably buying into it if it becomes legal, obviously, right? So now we've just turned this into a drug chat. Now people are just talking about drugs. Oh man. Hopefully YouTube doesn't catch on to this. So the S&P is starting to rebound a little bit. That's all good. That's all good. We're just waiting for, in 13 minutes, we've got new home sales coming out. And then 43 minutes, the crude oil inventories. And then obviously at 2, we've got that big decision from the Fed. I will, unfortunately, I believe, I'll be in class, so I won't be able to watch it live. But you can be sure that as soon as I'm out, I'll be at my PC looking at what they said and what's going on. DWAC moving up big with the markets. We just got a big bar up 5%. SDC reaching new highs of the day to 263. And Sundial kind of pittering out. It's not moving too much. It's just sitting around 48 cents in the 48 cent range, using 49 as some resistance. But we'll see what happens with Sundial. I'm not too worried about it. It's on a decent uptrend right now over the past couple of days. And if the markets start coming back in a big way, I think that this could have been the bottom for a lot of those small market cap stocks. It really could have been. I mean, they have been pushed down so incredibly far. We'll pull up the Russells. Man, the Russells really, really tanked. And once again, the Russells isn't even the smallest of the smallest market cap stocks. Now, really scary statistic that I've pulled up on the channel a couple of times. Pulled this up a couple of times, and I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing it, but I did want to point this out. So more than 1/3 of NASDAQ stocks have slumped 50%. And the scary part is this came out January 14th. So if you look at where the market was January 14th, the market hadn't even really fallen that much. I mean, it had fallen a bit, but here we were, January 14th, right here. So we were at 463 on the SPY, and the SPY fell down to 420. So let's see where the Russells was on January 14th. So January 14th, the Russells ended the day at 213. So from that to the lows, the Russells was down another 10%. I mean, how many more small market cap stocks do you think were down more than 50% off their all-time highs when we bottomed out around there? It was probably close to 50% of them were down. We're down 50%. I mean, half the stocks might have been down 50% off their all-time highs. So, although the S&P has done a really good job of covering up the market pain that people have been seeing the past year-ish, couple of months to a year, there definitely is a lot of pain in the market, right? A lot of stocks have been decimated, and it's pretty much just been covered up entirely by the gains that people have seen in these large market cap stocks that dominate the S&P, right? The Microsofts, the Apples, the Googles. And hopefully we'll see a rotation out of that. Now I'll pull up the market map. Oh my gosh. And you can see just how big of a cover-up they're doing even today. Look at this. Look at you guys won't even believe this. Look at how green all of these big market cap stocks are. Microsoft up 5%, Apple up almost 2%, MasterCard, PayPal up 2% and 4%, Nvidia up 3%, Google up 3%, Facebook up 1.5%, Amazon up 2.5%, Tesla up 3%, Netflix up 3.5%. I mean, look at how green that is. It's almost blinding to look at how green these massive market cap stocks are. And then you see the rest of the market, and it's a little green, but there's a lot of red mixed in there too, and a lot of gray. So really crazy stuff. I mean, the trend continues, right? The big market cap stocks dominate. But we are notably, in a couple of small market cap stocks, seeing some significant gains. But, I mean, crazy stuff. People love these big companies, and I love them too, right? I mean, what do you guys think is happening to Microsoft? I don't think anything bad is going to happen to Microsoft anytime soon. I think they're a giant, and they've got a ton of capital behind them, and they just have that capital so that they can buy up any opportunities that they see. They've got a ton of analysts working for them. I mean, they know what to buy and when to buy it, and they can just buy up any big tech opportunities that they see. I mean, they just bought up ATVI, Activision. So Activision, if you look, game maker, right? On this day, Microsoft announced that they were going to be buying them because look at what had happened. I'll pull up the 2-year chart. Look at this. They just been that's the 3-year. Pull up the 2-year chart. They had just been decimated, right? Their highs were around $100, and they got pushed down all the way to 57, so nearly down 50%. And then around 65 is where Microsoft announced the buy, and they instantly pumped up a bunch because obviously they're going to be paying more than the actual stock price to buy up all the shares. But I mean, look at that. ATVI, Activision Blizzard. I don't know if you guys ever played games like Diablo or Overwatch, or now they own, I think, Call of Duty. I'm pretty sure they own Call of Duty. Very popular games. World of Warcraft, I believe, is theirs. So Microsoft's buying this up, and they just saw this thing get pushed way down, and they looked at it, hey, why not buy the biggest MMO in the world, right? You may as well if you're Microsoft. You've got a ton of cash. And then, when the markets are green and people turn to gaming and whatnot, you can be up 5% in a day, right? So Microsoft, it's a great company. It makes a lot of sense that people want to buy into it. Unfortunately, we've seen a ton of capital flow out of these smaller market cap, potentially higher growth stocks, potentially. Over the long term, they could grow at a more rapid rate percentage-wise, right? Because it's a lot easier to take a company from 100 million to 200 million, or from 500 million to $1 billion, than it is to take Microsoft from wherever it is. I think in the 2 trillions right now. Let's see what Microsoft's market cap is at. It's a lot easier to take. Yeah, it's a lot easier to take a company from 2 billion to 4 billion than it is to take Microsoft from 2 trillion to 4 trillion. So they've done really well in the recent past, and over the long term, they've done incredibly well too. I mean, we'll pull up Microsoft. Microsoft was one of the first stocks that I bought, and I continue to hold it. I love Microsoft, but they've done incredibly well, and there's nary a decline, right? There's very rarely a significant decline. Where we're experiencing a slight one right now, they are actually down pretty significantly at the lows. They were down very significantly off of their highs. Honestly, they're not looking like that bad of a buy off of their highs right now, especially if you're buying at their lows. I mean, look at what Microsoft just went through. There was a big outflow, I will admit, for Microsoft from their highs to their lows. They were down 20%. So a lot of people probably saw, hey, I'm getting Microsoft on a 20% discount, and they decided to get into that. So, geez, look at this. Yep, down 20% from the highs to the lows. If you were buying up Microsoft. Now, potentially that candlestick is a bit of an error. I don't know. It seems like a very sharp drop. Let's see. For the past 5 days. Yeah, so apparently the lows in Microsoft, that may have been a glitch of the candle. Maybe it would seem to just be in the after hours, maybe just 1 or 2 candles knocking this thing down to 269. I mean, right after their earnings, I guess, yeah. But notably, their earnings seem to have boosted them, right? Right off the bat, they moved down. And now it seems like they're moving up pretty significantly. So, obviously, people liked what they heard at the earnings call. I didn't listen to it, but Microsoft, a crazy one. Now, we'll take a peek at some of the others. Google, another great company, right? They've got their tentacles in so many different things, right? They have Google Search. They've got YouTube. They've got Gmail. They've got all those platforms that you use to create Word documents and their own version of Excel and stuff. They're doing a ton of stuff. And I love Google, right? I love Google. I love Microsoft. I love Apple. I love all of these companies. But it certainly seems like people are, just at this point, because they have bright futures, willing to plow a ton of money into them and are potentially neglecting some of the smaller market cap, lower, higher risk, but also potentially higher growth opportunities out there. And they've been doing it for a while in this environment where they're worried about inflation, they're worried about the Fed tightening, and maybe the Fed's going to do it. But I don't think that the Fed is going to destroy the markets, right? I think they'd rather risk the dollar falling a little bit in value than the market's crashing. So we'll see what happens with these big market cap stocks. But I mean, obviously, I'm bullish on them. I'm bullish on them over the long term, but I'm also very bullish on some of the smaller market cap stocks. I think that they've fallen far too much. Let's see if we can find this story, actually. There is... Let's see if we can find this. So, I don't know if we're going to be able to find this story, but basically I was hearing that small market cap stocks have been pushed down so much that their evaluations as the lowest seen since 2011, I believe it was. So a lot of the small market cap stocks really have just been getting pushed down. It looks like Smile Direct Club took a turn, right? They hit their highs at 263, and now they're at break even for the day at 248. I don't mind the volatility. I'm obviously still long on SDC and still green on it too, right? It would have to fall by quite a bit more for me to be red, but honestly, if it did fall, I'd probably buy up a bit more, right? I'd like to get some under $2. I'd like to cost average down a little bit. If I could get it under 2, I'd be happy with that. This is one that I'm happy to hold for a couple of months and see if we can get a big bounce in it, because it basically just epitomizes what's happened to all the small market caps over the past couple of months, right? They've just been pushed down to basically these nothing valuations. I mean, we'll pull up the market cap of it. It's sub $1 billion even now, I believe, at least. Maybe they just yeah. So even after the rise that they've gone through over the past couple of days, they're only at 956 million. So still sub $1 billion, and just just a couple of months ago, they were a multi-billion-dollar company, right? When they were at $16 or even like 15 or 12 or 13, they had maybe 5 billion or 6 or more, right? If they're at $1 billion at 250 and you 4x that to $10, then that's 4 billion at 10, and they're up. They're down very significantly, right? Minus 75%, minus 80%. If we actually draw the line, we can tell exactly, down from their highs of 1608. They're down 85%. So SDC is another one, especially after this most recent announcement that they put out. We can pull up their investors relations page and find, where is their investors relations page? Let me find this. So basically, on their investors relations page, they released this. I don't know how many of you guys saw the video I released on SDC yesterday, but they announced their strategic actions to increase profitability. And these are twofold, essentially, right? They're going to try to right-size their cost structure to better support core growth. And essentially, that means they want to figure out what customers they're serving that are profitable and what activities they're engaged in that are profitable activities, and cut out a lot of the unprofitable stuff, right? A lot of the stuff that could potentially lead to growth in the future but isn't profitable at the moment. They want to cut out a lot of that stuff and just start focusing on becoming profitable sooner rather than later. And also, they want to allocate capital to countries with the greatest potential for near-term profitability. So kind of this twofold initiative to increase their profitability in the near term, which I think will be very beneficial, right? Especially in the current economic environment where a lot of people are worried about inflation, a lot of people are worried about a potential recession. They're going to want to see a company that is cash positive, right? That actually is making money every quarter instead of losing money. So that could be very beneficial if they're able to turn their balance sheet, or to turn their revenue around and really make their profit a positive instead of a negative, get their EPS up there, then I think we could see really good stuff, right? Currently, their EPS sits at negative 2.33, but I think that we can get it positive sometime in the next couple of months, maybe sometime in 2022, hopefully. And if they do, and even if they're just getting closer to that, I think that we'll see them on their way up, right? They were valued around, it must have been $7 billion when they were at $16. So now sub $1 billion market cap. I'm happy to buy up some of their stock. Now, we do actually have quite a bit to do today, and by we, I mean me. So I will pull up these numbers that should be coming out for the U.S. home sales real soon, right? They're supposed to come out at 10. It is 10, but maybe it'll take a second. They're forecast to be 760,000 new home sales. My hope is that we'll see, honestly, I'd like to see real estate move down a little bit. I'd like to get some real estate for myself, hopefully in 2022, but we'll see what happens with it. I would like to grab some real estate, though, so I'd rather, from a personal perspective, I'd rather see home sales go lower. I'd rather see there be less demand for new homes. Maybe home prices can go down. It's probably not the best for the economy, right? But that's my personal perspective on it. And let's see if we can get this thing to load up on a different tab. Okay. So the home sales numbers. The home sales numbers, they don't want to come out. They don't want to reveal themselves. Understandable, but this site, it typically takes a little bit to update, so understandable. Anyways, guys, as I was saying, it is a busy day for me today, so I will be ending the stream a little bit early at the moment, and we'll get rid of this page real quick. So let's get rid of that. Anyways, we're ending the stream a little early today at 10, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully we don't get Jerome Powell saying anything too crazy that's going to rock the markets to the downside. From the look of things, the S&P is moving up, right? We're up almost 2% on the day. Sundial's up 3%. SDC, now it's down 2%. Freaking thing. And DWAC is up 4.5%. So all in all, good stuff going on in the markets. Now, other than that, keep an eye on Jerome. Make sure he doesn't do anything crazy while I'm not at my desk. But have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 9.